Hi geographers, and welcome to the latest video of the Castle View Geography YouTube channel. I'd like you to pause the video now, write the title Coastal Management and complete the do now. Right, so welcome back. Let's go through the answers. Question 1, the answer is Moran grass. Number 2, this undercuts. Number 3 is discordant. Number 4 is abrasion. Number 5 is longshore drift. Number 6, you could say constructive waves have a stronger swash. You could say destructive waves have a stronger backwash. Beaches form in bays because the area is sheltered from the wind, and the sequence should be crack, cave, arch, stack, and stump. So, today we are going to be talking through the different coastal management strategies used to protect the coastline from erosion, and then you'll hopefully be able to evaluate the advantages and disadvantages of each coastal defence method. So, first things first, why do coasts need to be managed? Coasts need to be managed to maintain a balance between the forces of nature and the demands of people living by the coastline. People who live or work near the coast need to be protected from coastal erosion and or flooding in order to carry on with their lives, ensure they are safe, and ensure the economy of the area does not collapse. So, what are the options? There are 3 strategies we can do. We can do hard engineering, which is using artificial structures such as seawalls to control natural processes. Soft engineering, this is less intrusive, more environmentally friendly methods that work with natural processes to protect the coast. And managed retreat. This is the controlled retreat of the coastline, allowing the sea to flood areas of low value land. What I'd like you to do is pause the video here and just jot down the 3 keywords on your paper. Brilliant, so let's carry on. So, hard engineering is often expensive, it's often man-made, and it can be quite intrusive, okay? Soft engineering is often cheaper, it's using more natural processes in order to protect the coastline. If you just look at the 2 pictures, you can see that we've got a seawall and rock armour compared to soft engineering, which is just adding more sediment to the beach. So let's talk through each strategy. What I suggest you do is write down what each strategy is and then just add a positive and negative of this. So firstly, we've got groins. Groins are barriers made out of wood or rock that are at a 90-degree angle sticking out from the coastline to the sea. These stop longshore drift. A positive of groins is by stopping longshore drift, they create a wide beach. This means the destructive waves are unable to reach the back of the beach, so will no longer erode any land behind the beach. A negative of groins is that by stopping longshore drift, they stop any sediment travelling along the coast, which means beaches along the coast will be starved of sediment and narrower. This means that further along the coast, erosion rates can increase. The second hard engineering strategy is curved sea walls, and these are just concrete curved walls built at the back of the beach. And what they do is where they are curved, they reflect wave energy back out to sea. And this means that any land behind the curved seawall should not erode. A downside to seawalls are they are very expensive. They can cost thousands of pounds per metre to build, which means local councils will have to spend money on them, so they will have less money to invest in local infrastructure like schools and hospitals. The third hard engineering strategy is rock armour, or riprap. And what this is just large piles of boulders which are often imported from areas like Norway, and they are placed at the back of the beach. A positive of this is by having these large boulders, what they do is they absorb the wave energy, which means areas behind the rock armour will not erode. A disadvantage of rock armour is they're very intrusive and quite ugly, creates a lot of visual pollution, which means less tourists might go to the beach, therefore local businesses and cafes might financially suffer. And the final hard engineering strategy is gabions. These are wire baskets filled with rocks. A positive of these is the gabions absorb the wave energy, which means areas at the back of the beach and behind the gabions will not erode. And finally, a negative of the gabions is where they are made of wire. The metal wire can rust regularly, which means they are very expensive as they need to be repaired and maintained, which means the council will have less money for other resources like schools and hospitals. So the next three strategies we'll look at is soft engineering. The first soft engineering strategy is dune regeneration. This is done by restoring sand dunes, so this might be planting extra moran grass on the sand dune or adding fences to the sand dune. A positive of this is it means the sand dune is stable and will not erode. This means that the beach is wider, so it's less likely that the destructive waves will erode any land behind it as it's a barrier. A disadvantage of dune regeneration and the dune fencing is people often ignore the fences, so people can climb over it, which damages the dunes. Therefore, the dunes, if destroyed, cannot act as a barrier. Another soft engineering strategy is beach nourishment. This is where extra sediment is added to a beach. A positive of this is by adding the sediment to the beach, it increases the beach width, which means that there is a large natural barrier, i.e. the beach, between the sea and human houses behind the beach, so therefore there's a lower chance of erosion. A disadvantage of beach nourishment is you have to constantly repeat doing it, because if longshore drift is present, sediment that's added will then be removed, so it becomes quite costly as the council need to add more sediment to the beach regularly to ensure it is wide enough to prevent erosion. And the final strategy is beach reprofiling. This is where sediment is moved to the back of the beach to create a wider beach and a larger barrier to stop destructive waves eroding any valuable properties behind the beach. A negative of this strategy is that by reprofiling the beach and moving the sediment, when this happens the beach has to shut down, so it's closed to tourists, which means less people visit the area, leading to businesses suffering and losing out financially. So please double check you've got what each strategy is, a positive and negative. If you've missed any of it, please feel free to go back and listen to the explanations again. Just a quick little task for you to do. I've just got 7 statements. All I want you to do, just write down numbers 1 to 7 and just decide if they are hard or soft engineering. So feel free to pause the video now to take part. Right, did you get? You should have got hard, 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 hard. And then the next 3, dune regeneration, beach nourishment and beach reprofiling, are all soft engineering. Perfect, so let's get on to the blue zone, our independent task. So it says study the figure below, a diagram showing some coastal processes and coastal management strategies. Assess the effectiveness of strategies used to protect coastlines against erosion. So what we need to do here is we need to do 2 AKU paragraphs, and our chain of reason, must explain how the management schemes protect the coastline against erosion, how they do or do not. The A, your assessment, will be to judge whether it is or is not effective. So like I said, A for assessment, K for knowledge, what is the hard engineering strategy, and U for your understanding. Here's a model. To a large extent, I believe rock armour is a very effective way of protecting the coastline. Assessment. For example, the figure shows large rocks placed at the back of the beach. There's my knowledge, I've said what rock armour is. This means the rocks will absorb the energy of the destructive waves, which means less land behind will erode. To a large extent, I believe groins are not effective at protecting the coastline from erosion. For example, groins are wooden poles placed at 90 degrees sticking up from the beach to stop longshore drift. Knowledge, we said what groins are. This means sediment is stopped from travelling along the coast, which means further south of the groin the beach will be narrow. Therefore, destructive waves will erode the coast. In conclusion, I believe rock armour is the best, as this does not lead to an increased erosion further along the coast, like groins do. What I want you to do is pause the video, complete the exam question, Once you've completed it, please feel free to rewind and check yours against the model. And if you'd like your teacher to mark it, please email or bring it into school. Thank you for watching today's video on coastal management. Please feel free to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all new videos on Castle View Geography. Thank you. Goodbye.